Hey there, greetings everybody. I want to welcome you all here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph and I'm the host of the show. Sorry, I just wanted to fix that. It was a little higher than I thought it was. Anyways, we're here today to talk about the new Prog albums. This is a show I do once a week in which I talk about a album that's out for 2026 that is progressive in nature and suits this show. So anyways, we're here to talk about an album by Archive. That's the name of the band. The album's called Glass Minds. Came out February the 27th, 2026. It's about 77, almost 78 minutes in length on the Danger Visit label. A lot of people performing on this album. I think there's about 15 or so. So it's Darius Keeler on keyboards, piano, and synthesizers. Danny Griffiths on synthesizers, keyboards, and effects. Dave Penn on vocals, electric guitar. Pollard Barrier on vocals and electric guitar. Lisa Montram on vocals and electric guitar. Jimmy Collins on vocals. You have Steve Smiley Barnard on drums and percussion. Jonathan Noyce on bass and Moog synthesizers. Mickey Hercombe on electric guitars, Steve Harris on electric guitars, Steve Watts on Hammond organ, Lee Pomeroy on mellotron, and Karen Gledbill on accordion. In addition to that, they also have the English Session Orchestra with a brass section there. So a total of 12 songs in total on the album. Fairly lengthy. All the songs are fairly long. I think there's the one that's in the 4s. Everything else is over 5 or 6, and even as high as 7 or 8. Okay, so we have the overall feel of this album. Probably I would call it, after having listened to it its entirety, I would say it's a little bit diverse album, but it's got a spacey element to it for sure. But the main thing is I think it's kind of got that atmospheric prog sound to it, or atmospheric synthesizer sound, or symphonic prog, or whatever you want to call it. All those things it has a little bit of that electronic stuff going on as well. For all these guitar players they have on here, you've got like 5 different people playing guitar, and yet I don't hear much in the way of guitar on the album. It's kind of weird. There are lots of different vocal sounds here. Some are male, some are female, some are high end, some are low end, some are raspy or husky sounding, and others are more smooth sounding. The production's very good on the album. The songs are I think I would call them very melodic. You don't have any fast-paced or anything. It's very slow, melodic stuff, which it's kind of in that same kind of range as space rock, but not necessarily spacey. Just very kind of slow and melodic stuff. Overall, I thought it was a decent album. I don't think it's a fantastic album, but a decent one for sure. Most of the tracks I gave 6s, a few 6.5s, and a few 5.5s, but nothing outside of that range. So range between 5.5 and 6.5 the song. So pretty decent album. I'm a bit of a hard marker. I don't give high numbers easy. So the first track is called Broken Bits. This is almost 7 minutes long. Starts out with a nice heavy kind of horn synthesizer sound. And then it gets kind of spacey. There's a kind of this noise. Sounds like a bouncing ball, actually. Keyboards and synthesizer sounds throughout this track. It's kind of smooth, overall spacey sound, and definitely key-driven. The no vocals on this track. It's the only instrumental on the track. And lots of synthesizer sounds and electronic sounds throughout the track. Pretty decent track. Next up is Glass Minds, which is the title track. Why they put it in the second spot, I'm not really sure. Maybe they wanted to start with an instrumental. Maybe that kind of makes sense. So this song is just under 6 minutes. It's got a kind of a heavy bass synthesizer noise going on at the opening with a melodic frontal piano. Piano's kind of dominant here a little bit. It's got a nice, soft, marshmallowy female voice here with a heavy drum beat kind of supporting her, I guess is a good way to put it. The vocals are clear, high end, very clear, and forward, the secondary vocals. A nice melodic rhythm section and a heavy synthesizer symphonic sound throughout this track, and lots of keyboards and synthesizers, as I said. This is probably my favorite track on the album as well. I found it catchy enough. There are a couple of challengers, but that's the main one. Next one is called Patterns. Nice synthesizer percussion noises going on here at the beginning, and a nice piano tempo to open. Vocals are husky, clear, melodic, low end. The secondary vocals, excuse me, getting tired now. Vocals get more poppy, more raspy, a little bit more forward too. It's a quiet melodic track with some slowly growing tempo, and gets a little bit louder as the song goes along. Multiple synthesizers to create a very symphonic sound here. The drums become more prominent and kind of dominate the back half of this song. Next up is When You're This Down. This is one of the other track that I think could be my favorite. It's got a nice low ebb piano with odd noises and some keyboards thrown in there. Vocals are moderate. They sound and feel like falsetto, and they're definitely male. The secondary vocals are female for sure. The melodic synthesizer-driven, percussion-driven track. Lots of multiple vocal parts throughout it, and very heavy synthesizers with a little bit of guitar parts in here too. But not a lot of guitar on this, considering how many people are actually playing on this album, playing guitar. That was my other song that I thought might be my favorite. Next up is a song that's almost 8 minutes in length. So Far From Losing You is the name of the track. Nice mellow keyboard opening, kind of a mid-range vocal voice, talking, singing, kind of doing all those things. Almost a rapper-like feel to it. Twin vocal parts with a high-end keyboard part supporting them, so it's kind of these backing, and there's more than one here as well. Synthesizers, percussion-driven track again, spacey at times, symphonic at times as well. Next track up is called Wake Up Strange, which is about 5.5 minutes in length. Nice percussion organ opening. The vocals are multiple, melodic, almost spoken-like throughout the track. It's a bit of a spacey track with some percussion and some voices going on throughout the track. Not a bad song. Next is City Walls. This is one of the weaker tracks. Nice piano, subdued. Feels like it's part of the rhythm section. The vocals are husky, male, melodic, clear, frontal, soft at the same time. All those things. Lots of synthesizers. Moments feel very symphonic. It's kind of almost a forgettable song, though. It's nothing outstanding at all here. The next is called Love the Light. Nice organ keyboard part at the beginning with some mellow sounds just filled in there. Vocals are quite soft, female forward, and strong. Percussion and multiple voices and vocal parts throughout, with a nice organ at times as well being put in there. The organ actually becomes a little bit louder. A bit of a bitey percussion part, though. A little bit heavier than any of the other tracks on the album. I kind of like this one a bit too. Next one is just under 5 minutes. I think it's the only track The only track on the album under 5 minutes. Shine Out Power. Heavy symphonic opening, very heavy, with a male mid-range and clear vocal part. Then the multiple vocal parts jump in there too. The song changes into a heavier feel, lots of synthesizers, and does pick up tempo as it goes along. This is not a bad track, not a bad one. Heads Are Gonna Roll. It's not a Judas Priest cover either. This has a rapper vocal feel to it. Very rapperish, actually, with some very heavy electronic sounds. It does build up. The spacey gets a little bit more heavy in the rhythm section, but it's dominated by the rapping vocals throughout this track. It was kind of surprised me. I knew there was a little bit of that earlier on, but this is full-on rapper here. The last track on the album is, I think, the longest. It's about almost 8.5 minutes. Where Am I is Where I Am. Sorry, not Where Am I. Where I Am is the name of the track. Starts out with some quiet voices and vocal parts. Nothing dominating or too heavy or anything like that. Very synthesizer, symphonic driven track. This one is one of the most symphonic, very, very symphonic driven track. But a slow, melodic, sad feel to this song. That was my general feel. There's a couple songs on here that had that kind of, I wouldn't call it morose, but very sad and almost depressing feel to them. Anyways, that's it for this album. Archive is the name of the band. Glass Minds is the name of the album. And again, this came out back in February. I actually skipped over it the first time. I thought it might be too symphonic for me, but I decided that I was going to give it a try anyways, because I need to do a little bit more of the symphonic stuff. I haven't done as much of it, so we're going to include this one here. Came back out, like I said, back in February 27 of 2026, and that's the take for today. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of New Prog Albums. Please hit the like and subscribe. If you want to make any comments about this album, or if you want, you can get a listen to it. I listened to it over on, it was on the YouTube. I found a site on YouTube and punched it in. It came up. I was able to listen to this entire album. Pretty decent. I don't know if this is an album I would want to play or have in my playlist. It's not up-tempo enough for symphonics for me. I like symphonic rock, progressive rock, if it's up-tempo. This is a little bit too almost depressing sounding, and it doesn't sound enough like space rock to make me think it's a space rock album. Anyways, we will see you all next week with another new Prog album. So take care, have yourself a good evening, and goodbye here from the Prog Monster.